Mm.
Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you're doing great. I have got Joe on, and Joe, Crypto Charts Joe, has some really interesting predictions about Bitcoin and altcoins coming up as early as this January. And the reason why we're doing this is because he did some time-stamped X posts that we're going to show you, showing that Bitcoin was going to hit 120 grand in July when other people doubted him. So as I bring him on, I want to remind you that we are doing a it's 1 day left on the sale on CryptoTrader Pro and CryptoTrader 2.0 put together for $149. It'll never be this price again. 1 day left. Links down below. Joe, let's talk about these predictions.
To it. One of the last actually couple of months, social media, anywhere you look, real down and out, negative, Bitcoin and crypto. I know a few people that just, threw in the towel and walked off. But, looking at the charts, we kind of have a reputation to be able to do that a little bit, if you know what I mean. And then we, calculated that we could have a really good chance of hitting 120 by the end of July. And then if you put, a tailwind behind it regarding any type of, rumors, innuendos, or whatever about, interest rates cuts or, Jerome Powell, the Fed coming out with any type of dovish information, that could really accelerate, the price action. And then do you want to end the year when we step out there end the year or
Well,
just keep it?
yeah, let's do this. While you're pulling up the tweet that or the post on X that you put out there when Bitcoin was nowhere near where it is now, put that up. And it's funny because when you said people are throwing in the towel, I heard it on my channel left and right. Like, I'm done. This is crap. I'm selling. And it's like you should be buying more during this little dip because we are in a confirmed Bitcoin and crypto market bull run, but there's all these little lulls that happen on the way up. Now, this is the one that you shared a little while ago, correct?
Okay. Right, about the 120. Yeah, it should be up there. It should be
Yep.
on the screen now. Okay. Yeah, Bitcoin. That was back in June, the end of June, 25th of June, on that one.
Yeah. And
And
what was Bitcoin price around then? Do you remember?
oh no, it was, we would had the markets were kind of sporadic, on
Yep.
again, off again with the tariffs and stuff. And I think that was a kind of a low point. I mean, I have a chart here. I can look it up for you. But also, let me show you this one here. I get that one going. Uh, sure, I don't know if that one's popped
Yeah,
up.
I just popped up. Yeah.
Yeah, and this was back in January 22nd of 2023.
Yep.
And this one, we were calling that the low was in November. And if you look back, that actually ended up being the low. And then, of
It's
course, we had a
incredible.
couple a couple of disclaimers here, that if we had another FTX debacle, or
Yep.
something. But yeah, that's what we're looking at. And then this is the monthly chart of Bitcoin, the whole history here. And what's interesting is that after the halving, post halving, so far, Bitcoin has never put in more than 2 months in a row down. Okay, it's always been going up, up, up after the halving. Now, the halving, as you can see here, was on that red candle in April of
Yep.
2024. And so far, we put in a couple of, February, March, but part of that was the headwinds of the stock market, tariffs, and all that. And then here we go. And then we like to do time counts, not to get too technical, but 3, 4, 5. So we're looking for possibly, uh, another continuation in August, and then maybe September having a pullback, a red month, and then continue with green months, up months through December. Now, kind of a caveat here is that on the 4 year cycle, we had a down year, 2022, and then 23, 24, 25 are up years for Bitcoin, for crypto. But the cool thing is that the last year, which luckily we're in now, 2025, is the most parabolic, high percentage gains for your altcoins and Bitcoin. And then you add to that that it doesn't matter who's sitting up in the Oval Office, an R or a D, their first year, according to the S&P 500 is always their best year.
Yeah.
So of that 4-year cycle. So, we have a couple of real good, indicators behind us to push us through that zone. And then to add on top of that, to make it even better, there's the two best months for Bitcoin, according to history, is number one, believe it or not, is February, and second is October. And if you look back,
Nice.
October has the most green months, behind February, and also higher gains. So I believe people are going to have aside, from other things, a great November, December
Yeah.
coming forward. Yeah.
I completely agree. Now, if you don't mind, on that chart, highlight the first quarter of 2024. The reason why I ask you to show that is because that's when you and I came out with the Crypto Trader Pro course. We came out and said, hey, this is the
Yeah.
time to start learning how to trade and invest in crypto. And you could see as he's showing you the first quarter in 2024, that really big green candle right there, coming into that happening, we knew, and with the adoption of and the invention of ETFs, Bitcoin ETFs, that there was going to be a massive amount of money flowing into this sector. Now, this is just Bitcoin. The truth is, Joe and I invest a lot of money outside of Bitcoin in cryptocurrencies because we understand something called altcoin season. Joe, would you mind sharing what you think? I mean, if you're thinking that Bitcoin's going to have an amazing, rest of the summer and into November, December, what's going to happen with altcoins?
Lambo. I don't want to get too crazy here, keep it real. But let me show you this. I'm gonna go ahead and share this with people. Uh, but this was our call for the alt. I don't really like using the term alt season. It's just
Yeah.
with the chart. But anyway, we'll just go ahead and keep using that term because that's the one everyone is used to. But technically, for this run, alt season happened back here in the middle of October 2023. Then we had a pullback, the little pullback here in 24, and then the end of 24. People still probably remember that huge run up, and then a pullback, and then here we go. So I'm literally comparing this little pullback here after a downdraft. See right here, these
Mhm.
two, and then guess what happened? The big run, and guess where we are now, right there. So I'm going to go ahead and
Awesome.
uh, so we could be in the start of this alt season, okay?
Yeah,
Or
you and I saw
coming,
a lot of people become millionaires in January,
yes,
February on the tail end of that last altcoin run. So to imagine the people that have already become millionaires now having $1 million in crypto for this next one, I can't even imagine what's going to happen.
right. And this is going to be a lot bigger, more powerful. Uh, I don't think people really realize, and even myself started to wrap my mind around it. And I've been around like yourself since first quarter of 2017. And we've been through some, very great highs in the market, but this is going to be extremely accelerated because what we're going to have the U.S. government backing behind us, pushing that, and everyone's going to try to front run the government and get in before those guys, and that's going to accelerate it. Plus the FOMO, it's just a perfect storm brewing actually out here. And
And
I'm,
you know
I'm
what? In closing, there's one thing we got to talk about because, yes, everything you're mentioning is bullish for crypto. But I think the most bullish thing is the downturn of the US dollar because
oh
as
yeah,
people
yeah.
around the world see this getting worse, do you have a DXY? Yeah, there we go. Got an index chart.
That's
Let's talk about that because this is the most scary thing. And this is where people need to realize you need to understand how to invest now in dollar alternatives because this is scary.
Yeah, this green dash line, this is for our Patreon members. But anyway, once, as you see, the powers that be have been trying to hold it up above that green dash line. If you see all those, emergency, flushes in here, and finally they have given up. It even came back and tried again. That was the line in the sand right there. I mean, it's just going to be a slow drip to the downside. We're going to have some, oversold, pumps to the upside. But Yeah. Yeah, you're looking at history
Not
being
looking
made.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, Joe, thank you so much for coming on. I want to
Yeah.
remind everyone, if you want this course, actually it's two courses, CryptoTrader Pro and 2.0, they will never be this price again. $149 for both of them. The link's down below if you want it. Joe, thank you so much for sharing this.
Well, you're very welcome. And that 2.0, I'm just saying, I'm very proud of it. That's my best work. And I have my granddaughters in mind when I made it so that when they're old enough to start, managing their own money, their own, accounts, ground grant, or,
You know what, Joe? You're starting to break up, so I think we should probably just end it right there. Does that sound all right?
yeah,
All
perfect.
right. All right. No worries. Hey, with that being said, everyone, the Economic Ninja and Crypto Charts Joe are out.